This is a it just started. So I welcome everybody again. Welcome to the first of AMTOI knowledge session on family business empowerment. Today we have a very eminent speaker. Normally we call him by doctor, and also a lot of people, in the world know him as a professor as well. So he is Dr. Parimal Merchant. He has over 26 years of association with management education. He is director global FMB program at SP Jain School. He's in charge of a distinctive 12 months management program for sons and daughters of business families. He is graduated from Mumbai University and has a PhD in philosophy. Over the years, by interaction of over 3,000 family businesses and business owners, he has developed insight into the family business culture of Asia. He has given various conferences on issues of family managed businesses. And before Dr. Parimal Merchant takes over the floor, I would like Mr. Shantanu Bhatkamkar to share a little bit of thoughts about why AMTOI as a multi-model association is so much into the family business. Sir, over to you.
Yeah, thank you, Tarun. And welcome everyone. Welcome, Professor Merchant. The key agenda of AMTOI or focus of AMTOI is catalyzing multimodal transport and accelerating the trade facilitation. All the same, we have seen in all such trade associations, which includes FFI, which has similar goals like AMTOI, but focused on custom brokerage, and Maharashtra Chamber, which is a very generic chamber spread across Maharashtra. Apart from technical issues of business, legal and taxation issues of business, the management or the business management itself is a very key issue for members. And it's obviously an objective of every association to empower members, strengthen their abilities, and prepare them for tomorrow. And there are numerous business dimensions of any business, and family business is one. Majority of our members are family businesses. And almost 12 years back, when we took this initiative in FFI, we saw a huge response from people. People were passionate during discussion of this topic. Same response we saw in Maharashtra Chamber. We took it in different cities, Kolhapur, Satara, Nashik, Aurangabad, Akola, Mumbai, and so many places we went. The response was similar. So this is a topic dear to heart of the people. Protection of family, which includes protection of family wealth and harmony within the family, is a very important issue. And these issues are also important for business continuity plans. And hence, this is very much within line of our core activity, which is of empowering the members. Professor Merchant, I have heard him several times on YouTube, is a name synonymous with family business. And before I hand over to him, I just want to say that this is just first awareness session in the series. We will have 3 or 4 awareness series, then we will have more serious programs. And then we will also have intensive sessions with the faculty. So I would want people to participate with full participation without multitasking. This 1.5 hours of yours will probably be the best investment you have made in your business and the best investment you have made on the welfare of your family. So with that, the floor is yours, Professor Merchant. Welcome and thanks for supporting our initiative. Sir, you are mute.
Yes. Thank you very much. Already introduced that I have been working with management program for family managed business. So there are three components into this. Family part, how one evolves from a 20, 25, 20-year person to 30, 40, 50, 60, and what kind of changes happens within the person and the family around. Then there is this another aspect of managing the things where initially we start learning and then we start doing ourselves and then we start delegating and then it becomes organization. And then there is a whole aspect of business. As we define as business has to be very clearly understood as business. In our terminology, or rather our experience, we believe that business is the most important social work. There are different people looking at things, and there is something they have created a word called CSR. But really speaking, if we appreciate the business, the role it plays in society, then we will look at it that it is one of the most important social contributions. So we will look at family management and business. Now, what has happened is that we started a program, a management program for family business way back in 1997. So this program has been there for 25 years. And in this 25 years, we have more than 6,000 students, everyone from business family. Now, there are all kind of businesses, all kind of culture, all part of India, different kind of segments from other places in Asia, but of course, not Europe. Our experience shows that this whole working culture in Asia, be it India, Pakistan, Middle East, Saudi, Indonesia, Philippines, Vietnam, Korea, Japan, China, there is a certain way of thinking which is quite common in this Asian region. I cannot say whether it is similar in Europe or not, but from whatever we hear about people speaking from European origin, we can see that there is a very, very big difference. Then there is a second part of it, that since we started this program 25 years ago, it was very new. So whatever is happening in the world in the name of family management or family business, we were very curious to learn from everywhere. So I went to IMD Switzerland. They were supposed to be conducted good program in family business. We went to Babson, which is in Boston. They talk about entrepreneurship. My colleague went to Harvard, Stanford, various places in the world to see what is happening, what people are observing, and how things are being interpreted. At the age of 50, I started my work on PhD. Now in PhD, what happens? One of the things that PhD requires is you have to read every available literature on the topic. I was lucky because in the topic of family business, there is not much literature at all. I didn't have to really work so much, but then I went through the entire available literature. So now I can tell you that I have a credibility to tell you that really what is the substance and what is the rubbish that goes on being talked about in the whole field of family business. Then there is a third dimension of it. I have been working since 1976. It's already 46 years. In 46 years, I have seen teen teji and teen mandi. I have seen lot of fads coming and also going. So when a new fad comes now, I really do not get that excited. And when something seems to be going down, I don't think the world comes to an end because it all seems that I have seen it before. Just to give you one simple example, e-commerce is going to take over the whole world. You will hear from a lot of people. I also heard. Now, the point is that when you do some reading, understand about history and all, you will realize that something like this happened earlier also. And how earlier? More than 100 years ago. So there was a guy called Robert Sears in 1895. He started doing a business of mail order. And incidentally, he was not the first one. There were already many people doing. And in mail order business, what do? People in America at that time were distributed in various villages all over the places. So they couldn't travel. So the mail order business meant a catalog in which there is a photograph of the product, there is a description of the product, there is a price given of the product, and then you select the product by what? The code name, write on the postcard and send the postcard to them. They will receive the postcard. In the godown, they had all the products. They will pack the product and send it by post to you. What is the difference between mail order and e-commerce? In mail order, there was a physical catalog. In e-commerce, there's a catalog on the platform. In the mail order, you are sending an order by a postcard. Now you are sending an order by an electronic message. In mail order, the item were coming to you by post. In e-commerce, it is coming to you by courier. So other than the mode of communication, what is the difference? Okay, maybe there are some small differences here and there. What is important point is that with all that, mail order business died. There was tremendous excitement about mail order and it's going to change the world and whatever it is, but it died. Now, whatever reasons by which mail order died, will it not affect the e-commerce business in similar way? In e-commerce, we are told that they don't have to pay rent for the premises, for a store, and so many things. Was it not the same applicable to people in mail order? In e-commerce, we are told that they can source the thing in bulk because they can send anywhere. Was it not true for mail order? The exposure of so many years means that you get an idea that all that glitters is not gold. When time comes, fad comes. And then time goes and the fad goes. But the substance remains. And one of the most important substance that we have is about the core of the person. And the core of the person, particularly in our Asian culture, is not within himself or herself. It is with the people around them. Every parent in Asia does not live for themselves. Their only dream is to make their children more comfortable, give them the best of the education and best of the opportunity. Traditionally, in this part of the world, there was another angle that every child, as they grow up, the aspiration is to look and ensure that their parents are more comfortable, they don't have much trouble, and we take up the responsibility. Now, this particular thought, generation concerned about the next and the next generation taking care of the previous, is something that was proposed by Confucius 2500 years ago. And that particular kind of understanding was widely prevalent in Asia. So in Asia, it is nothing new for people the only dream to build their next generation. In Asia, there was nothing new for children giving up their job, come back because their parents are elderly and they need attention. One generation taking care of another, and the next generation taking care of previous. This also resulted into a very different thing. This resulted in transmission of wisdom from one generation to another. मेरे घर में जुकाम होता है, when I get cold, my wife says, हल्दी वाला दूध पीना चाहिए. Now there is a question. Haldi wala दूध पीने से, that is the milk with turmeric, your cold can be addressed. Who told you? Her mother told her. And incidentally, who told her mother? The grandmother told the mother. And who told the grandmother? Her mother told her. It is this wisdom, the practical experience, and a very, very important part, values of life that get transmitted from generation to generation, largely in the culture where there are families. Asian families have been lucky that there are families. When they stay together, they evolve together, wisdom and experience of one generation is transmitted to the next generation. When they get evolved, they have a next generation, and this wisdom is transmitted to the next generation. This is where the family system was very, very useful to us. Now, I would like to share with you that after all these things, what is it that we see? One of the premises worthwhile understanding is the conventional way of saying is that your past makes your future. अगर आपने गलती किया होगा तो आपको भुगतना पड़ेगा, जो कर्म किया होगा वो फेस करना पड़ेगा. All this thing is related to telling us that past makes your future. Now there is another way of looking at it, a very interesting way of looking at it, and perhaps the right way of looking at it, it depends on how you see it, is that your future makes your present and also your past. I'll repeat. The conventional wisdom says that the past makes your present and the future. Another perspective says that your future makes your present and your past. How do we look at it? So as an association member, as a person in the business, what do you look at the future? If you are excited about the future, then the present is lovely and you are thankful that whatever happened in the past, because of that, now you are so geared that you can conquer the world. But majority of the family businesses are not excited, but are really, I would say, hawa nikal gayi hai. They've got really a kind of lack of enthusiasm about the future. Now, when you don't have enthusiasm of the future, what do you see in present? अरे बहुत लफड़े बढ़ गए हैं, कंप्लायंस बढ़ गई है, अभी धंधे में पहले जैसे मजा नहीं रहा, लोगों की नीयत अच्छी नहीं रही, अच्छे लोग मिलते नहीं है, मिलते हैं तो टिकते नहीं है। ये सब क्यों बोल रहा हूँ? ये क्या आज हुआ है? Was it not that in the past? Perhaps in the past the problems were much more. I'll tell you my first job 1977. I had to do some export of shipment to Indigo Blue to Germany. And I know what was the meaning of clearing and forwarding work at that time. How we had to type document into 1+5 copies. I wanted 5 original BL. And then we had to put the material, and then in the customs, and the truck goes, and from one go down to another go down, and a person has to run with paper, and all the agents were near the port. And then make sure we used to get a bulletin of which ship for which country is going to come on which day and which day it is sailing. Those days were the problems more or less, but we did not complain about problems at that time. On the other hand, the moment you see future as exciting, you look at past as really great help, present as all the foundation ready for a jump, and looking forward to jump. Your full body vibrating with enthusiasm, a lot of adrenaline flowing in your body, and you don't feel sick. On the other hand, if you have no enthusiasm of future, you have fear for future, then you are having complaints about present and no adrenaline, so all kind of sicknesses. So you'll have to go to gym, you'll have to go to walk, you'll have to do meditation to remain at the level. I don't remember in 25 years ago, 30, 40 years ago, anyone in the business was going to gym or was going to any other exercises. Still, they were very healthy, and I think because of adrenaline flowing in the body. So here is our one concept. What do you look at the future? Now, it is all a question of interpretation. So I'll share with you one story. Some of you might have heard about it. Long ago, one second. Long ago, long ago, I was invited in Khopoli. I was invited for a seminar by BGTA, Bombay Goods Transport Association. The president of the association started the welcome talk by saying, "हम सब खटारा वाले हैं, प्रोफेसर साहब आए हैं और कुछ बोलेंगे, देखते हैं क्या बताते हैं." So that is one definition of the business as khatara wala. Then one younger person came up. Maybe the elder person was the president and the younger one was the secretary or whatever it is. And he said that we are into transportation industry. We have our own supply chain. We have our own business definitions. We have our customer profile. And is an industry by itself. And we have to manage it. Here is another perspective. One perspective is Khatara, another perspective is transportation industry. And then the third person was doing my introduction or whatever it is, and he says we are into logistic industry, we are into the logistics, which is the lifeline of the society. If a cargo moves from Bombay to Delhi in 4 days, and if we can manage to make it do whole thing in 2 days, the entire economy speed will double. We are the lifeline of the economy. Now you look at this, the same business, how you look at it, and the way you look at it, your excitement, your enthusiasm, everything will change drastically. So I invite you to look at it, look at whatever you are doing, business. Do you see yourself excited about growth? Do you see yourself as one of the most vital link in the economy, not only locally, but globally? Then your whole approach will be different. Now, let me tell you, working for so many years, I have seen family businesses very closely. And of course, I have been connected with them in the journey. So, what is it that we see today? Today, we see most of the family businesses are tired. They are tired. And why are they tired? Here is where I'll tell you the things that happened over a period of time. Let's see, I started working 76. 1980, the stock market index was 100. Today, which is 60,000 plus, it was 100. In Bombay, most of the houses were near railway stations because traveling by train was the only major way of traveling. Cars will be with very few people. Of course, there was no question of air-conditioned car. All businesses concentrated in certain parts of the city, which was the business hub, very crowded, hand cart, and the person with carriage on the head, and the trucks, and the tempo, and the people, and the taxi, and very, very crowded. At that time, how was the life? People in cities, everything was small, so were the houses. My house, we were 5 brother and sister, father, mother, so total 7. And we had a house of 1-room kitchen, so 200 square feet. In this, people were living together, and it was not really so much money. There was no money. But what was there was traditions were very high. Enthusiasm was very high. For everything, it was said like, we do it this way. बड़े लोग आए तो पैर छूते हैं, मंदिर में जाते हैं, पूजा करते हैं, रोज प्रार्थना करते हैं, बड़े लोगों का आदर करते हैं, and so and so and so. Lot of things were there. That was 70s, 80s, 90s. This was a time that most of the family businesses in India were more or less born. There was, of course, trading and money lending and that kind of businesses were there for centuries. But real type of businesses with different services, manufacturing and all these things started taking place from 1980 in family businesses. There were big companies like Mafatlals and Ruiyas and Podars and all, who used to get licenses, and they were big. And all other family businesses, their job was to serve these big companies. It was only in 80s that another economy among these businesses also started developing. But of course, everything was scarce. No phone, no car, no scooter, everything in ration. So in this time, the real strength was the bonding within family. Nuclear families were rare, larger families, big number of brothers, sisters, and by default, we learned to give and take. By default, we learned that we are a part of the team. By default, we learned that we have to care for each other. By default, we were sure that somebody will care for us because there was no fear. There was a different kind of enthusiasm in life. That is what happened in those days in families. Businesses were very small. Offices were very small. Godown were very small. we didn't have money and banks would not give us much money. So we developed another kind of management, a management with the owner developing supercomputer. Which customer, which supplier, which product, which price. So you can think of a typical grocery shop. You will have 2,000 SKUs. In those days, you will get from him, of course, wheat and rice and Colgate. But if you say you want kumkum, either kumkum, he'll give you kumkum also. And if you want kapur, he'll give you kapur also. Now the beauty was that when you say ₹2 ka kumkum chahiye, he would know the price, the value, and in ₹2 how many grams he has to give you, so that he is fair to you also, and he makes his profit also. This ability to understand and remember all these things became necessary, and so it got evolved. We learned cost consciousness. As it is, money is very limited, necessity is the mother of invention. We had to be highly cost effective. You know, a lot of people ridicule a particular approach, but it's a very significant approach. In those days, elderly people, even of those days, would advise that from the toothpaste, how to extract maximum paste out of the tube. So once the tube is supposed to be over, you take a ballon and paste through the tube, so that whatever is left, little bit, whatever is there will also come out. But those who do not understand the depth of the things made big jokes about it. They called them conjuice. But the reality was that in time when resources are less, how do you make best of whatever resources you have? And one of that was, of course, zero waste. Now, this management approach in those times developed certain abilities and certain efficiencies. So because of that, family businesses had the management of efficiencies was so much that big companies could not compete with them. That is how we developed this concept that all big companies will have their entire vendor base of family managed business and their entire distribution of family managed business. It's not so everywhere in the world. But in India, it became so much, in Asia rather, it became so much, because family businesses are more efficient than big companies. Am I making sense? Think about Tata Motors, such a giant company with a lot of resources, all kind of manpower, unlimited money available, all kind of technology. How come a family managed business has to supply them part? Can't they make it themselves? They're supposed to be more technical, more efficient. But the fact is that if they make, the cost will be much higher, because family businesses are the people who manage the business far more efficiently. In fact, if you look at it, all the big corporates are riding on the shoulders of family businesses. Their entire vendor base, there's the transportation base, their labor contractor, their distribution, all family business. I have deliberately kept a pause because I think my internet connection is little showing me frozen image. In chat, can anybody tell me whether you can hear me properly or not?
Yes, you are audible, loud and clear.
Perfect. Okay.
There is a little lag in the video image, but image is also okay. But you are loud and clear.
Perfect. Then I'll continue. And you said about that lag in video and audio. Was it from beginning or only just recently?
Just
Uh,
recently.
Okay. So I'm also getting the same thing. So that is right. Okay. So all big businesses, they were riding on the shoulders of family businesses because family businesses have developed that art of managing things extremely cost effectively, hands on, and with some of the best HR in the world. Employees working with family businesses, highly underqualified by comparison to corporate salaries, highly underpaid, but by work-wise, doing the work of 4-5 employees of corporate sector by one person. Think about our accountant. He will do the TDS also and GST also and bank reconciliation and check making and finalization and all other things. Maybe in a corporate, there will be one person only for TDS, another person for only for GST, third person for XYZ. So what happened is that over the years, or rather in the initial years, I would call it the years of era from 1980 to 2000, family dynamics were brilliant, vibrant, were more a family than an individual. Businesses were small, full of challenges, all kind of problems, no resources. And in this, the management was a very unique management, hands-on, supercomputer, excellent HR, highly efficient, and that made the basis of family businesses. So this was the period 1980 till 2000. 2000 was, you can say, particular year, 95 till 2002 was an era which was more or less stationary. Nothing much happened. Businesses were stagnant. In the year 2002, something happened. And next one decade till 2012, things started growing phenomenal. So those who were talking about lakhs in the year 2000 started talking about crores by the year 2012 was there. Incidentally, you know, Kaun Banega Karodpati serial started in the year 2000. The word crore came to us only by the year 2000. Then what happened else? While businesses grew phenomenally, at the same time, there was also very heavy bombardment. Bombardment about the terms which we had not heard. And people like us who are old timers could not believe that it can happen. For example, buying drinking water. People of my age, up to one time, could not even imagine that in India, we will buy drinking water from the shop. It was when Mr. Chauhan sold his thumbs up to Coca-Cola. He shares in his interactions, and I remember once what he told us, that business was already given to Coca-Cola. Now what? So we're going to offices every day. And then somewhere in the cupboard, one old file was there. It was some kind of agreement that he had entered with a family in Italy. The name of the family was Bisleri, and he had agreed with them to do something about drinking water business. And then now that he was free and no thumbs up business, he started this brand Bisleri of what? Of just water. If you have to make thumbs up, you have to make so many ingredients and you have to make sugar and then again put it in through the gas and all. In growing water, nothing. And we in those days would wonder who will buy water in India. That is, you can say, an era before 2000. And look at it, 2002 to 2012. Something that happened, and now nobody wonders. It has to be bought. What's the big thing? We never heard a word called EMI. ICICI Bank started bombarding with these proposals of EMI only post 2002. Before that, there was only one bank, HDFC. It was not a bank, it was a corporation which would lend money for houses at a very high rate. And then started the word EMI. And within a short period of time, we started learning that EMI is not only for house, but it is also for the furniture in the house. And now it is also for the car and it is also for the vacation. This word EMI was not there. We could not understand that how can anybody pay 300 rupees for a cup of coffee. But it happens in front of our eyes. Now, suddenly people started liking this coffee, liking this idea of EMI, liking all these things. But it was not their own liking. This was an era of extremely powerful promotion and advertising bombardment in the country. It became an era of half westernization. We were neither Western country. We never had that kind of resources. We never had that kind of complete way of life, but only half-baked westernization we borrowed. So if I start liking Starbucks coffee, then somewhere deep inside, not extremely, I can't be even talking about it, so many people feel offended. But the fact is, deep inside, there was a sensation that I am now modern. So this urge to become modern was not ours, it was promoted. Till 2000, India was seen all over the world as a country of beggars. So nobody was bothered. Post 2002, they realized that here also there is a lot of money. And they started massive advertisements. And with this advertisement, we got swept. Here is entry of IT industry and call centers. Call centers made money easily available in hands with no responsibility. Often a person of the age of 19 would get more money in hand than his father of the age of 59. And then this money was spent like anything. And so came the idea of consumerism. So we need one kind of car and another kind of car and one t-shirt and another t-shirt and all kind of things. This is the era that happened. And then what happened in the way? Gradual dismissal of our own values and not knowing what to replace that with. So we were growing, we were doing very well. Everybody had a lot of money, businesses were doing well. And a movie had to come, Bhagwan. Now Bhagwan started showing how the family's things were started changing. And that how issues started coming up. So this started happening in the world of families. Bhagwan, of course, came in 2003 because it was beginning already of the era. And then we had 2009, a movie coming called Three Idiots. The directors, the story writers were very clear that it is so well powerful story that audience is likely to take it very personally. They may like to emulate whatever is there. So let's tell them from very beginning. This is our story, or this is a story of idiots. Look at them, enjoy the movie, and live your life. Don't follow them because they are idiots. But whatever they tried, by the time, whatever they were saying was going so well with other things that were also going, that people took it extremely seriously. And what did our hero told to the people in the movie? In that movie, there is Amir Khan. And do you know anything about in that movie? His background, uske parents kaun hai, uske aage piche kaun hai? Nothing. He is sitting in the exam also for somebody else. पास हुआ तो भी ठीक है, फेल हुआ तो भी ठीक है, क्या फर्क पड़ता है? But he was called the hero, and then he became a role model of all the viewers. And what does he say? He goes to the house of Madhwan. Now, Madhwan's father had given him some computer or laptop or whatever it is by taking loan against his PF, Provident Fund. Now, what is the meaning of taking loan against Provident Fund for the laptop? Is that I am mortgaging my future for you. Typical Asian father always, of course, will do that. To them, our hero goes, and what does he say? Are you do very nice wildlife photography. Why don't you follow your passion? And it was movie. So he follows wildlife photography and it's very fine. But in real life, when you start doing it, is already derailing. And then the Joshi, the third person, poor family, desperately looking, clinging to the hope that this boy will take us out. Father is very sick. Mother is tired of managing all the things. Still, they invite them for lunch. And at that time, when the father, who is puffing, is so helpless, he can't even scratch his chest. That time, the mother, with a balloon, is scratching his chest. Some hair from the chest goes transferred onto the balloon. And from there, over that, into the roti. And when Amir Khan eats the roti, he makes the face. And the whole audience laughs. Nobody questioned that you are laughing at what? That roti, Amir Khan was eating only once. But the entire family was eating it day in, day out with the hope that one day this boy will take us out. Again, this is an Asian culture where there is an expectation from the next generation. Him, our hero goes and tells what? Hurry, come on the roof, drink and dance, all is well. And he ends up doing it. Now, what does it really mean? Are you born on your own? Do you have responsibility to the family? You have grown, you are graduated, you are doing something. Really, what did you do on your own? Everything your parents gave you, and How come your parents gave you? Because the parents of your parents brought them up in such a way that they thought it appropriate to bring you up in such a way. So really speaking, are you entitled to do what I want, or do you really have a basic courtesy of repaying your debt to your family? Are you on your own, wanting my own space, wanting to do it in my own way? Or you realize that you are what you are because of your family, and you will do all your best to take your family legacy forward. Again, this was an Asian way of thinking, predominantly prevailing till the year 2000. By the year 2012, it started cracking. Divorces, which were unthinkable before the year 2000, were rationalized by saying, what is wrong in it? Nothing wrong in it. It's perfectly all right. But then what happens? Post 2012, stagnation started. Stagnation started, really speaking, not much dynamism, not much growing. Everybody is now learning this idea that we have a lot of money we should spend. And somewhere fear of failing started surfacing, started prevailing. And businesses stopped doing something path-breaking new, path-breaking challenges. And somewhere they became so tired, every day they will come home and start saying, अब धंधे में पहले जैसी मजा नहीं रही. And started gradually pushing the next generation to कुछ और करना. And young generation as it is was getting a lot of stimulus from the world. In 2016, a movie called Pink. And the Pink movie took the world to another height. I'm sharing with you all because, having a long exposure, you see the video, how things start unfolding. So somebody in 2012 would be shocked to hear the word called live-in. By 2020, it is supposed to be, what is wrong into it? Nothing is wrong into it. Of course, everybody can live the life the way they want. The only thing is that you don't know how gradually your real strength is getting out of your hand. You are losing something which was real of your strength, and in turn gaining nothing. Perhaps in the West, they had their way of life for years. We don't know. We know very little about the Western way of life and all. But at least in our place, we were very rich. We were very rich in families. We were very rich in our values. We were very rich in understanding the role that we have to play in society. We were very proud for whatever we were. And over the years, with this thing going on, we started developing a complex. Unless you have a crocodile on your t-shirt, you start feeling uncomfortable. Now, with that crocodile in your t-shirt, it means that you feel that you are worthy of someone. If there is A written here, then you are somebody. If in your shirt there is not A written here, it means you are useless. Somewhere the whole thinking started moving out. Instead of trusting ourselves, we started trusting outside symbols. So these people who were very vibrant, very confident, who would do the things, now started suddenly feeling, "Humko to kuch aata hi nahi hai," and started attending seminars. So last 5 years, you see plethora of seminars taking place, speakers after speakers. And what do they speak? They speak again what is happening in the current times. सब family business वाले unprofessionals हैं. You have nepotism. You all do manipulation. तुम लोगों में ethics जैसा कोई चीज नहीं है. Unless you come to us, you all are going to die. And suddenly, the business scenario, which was going well till 2012, has stagnated for most of the time. Last 2-3 years post-COVID has again gone up, but not because of us, because of the whole thing going up. The world of management part started drastically being questioned. Instead of seeing our conventional strength, we were started bombarded with the word called professionalization. Now, all those who talk about professionalization do not know that our family businesses were professional much before what they started talking. But we were in our own way. They started telling us in the Western way what is called professional. So if you pay somebody very high salary, and if that guy is called MBA or CA or some fancy education, and he is into a fancy cabin, and he will travel business class, and he will stay 5-star, then it is called professional. But if we have a worker who knows his job well, and if there is a fire in the factory, he will put his life for stake to save the factory, actually speaking, he is the real professional. You know, you all are into transportation, and so you would know about in how in your industry, it used to be spoken maybe 30-40 years ago about a captain of a ship, captain of a passenger ship. There is a storm, the ship is damaged, and the ship is sinking. What the captain is supposed to do? Make sure that all the passengers are given the lifeboat and smoothly given a safe passage out of the ship. And the captain will sink along with the ship. He was a professional. Now today, look at it. Captain, particularly it happened in a cruise in near Korea, maybe a few years ago. The moment the captain knew that the ship is going to sink and there is no way, there were a lot of children, a lot of passengers, but most of them were children. He told them to get into their cabin, and he escaped. What will happen to the managers in the company today, so-called professionals? The moment they come to know that the ship is sinking, what will they do? They will first find their way out. Is it professional? If it is, maybe it is in your way. Our Asian way, our way is professional is people who own the business, who know their job, and therefore them, their job is more important than any other priorities. We were already professionals. Of course, businesses grow. So we may have to have a different way of management. But questioning our conventional management and just relying on something that somebody else talks, who have no record of efficiency, is a question mark. Let's understand simple thing like a company called Unilever. For years and years, they've been hiring MBA from all the big colleges. And in earlier times when IT was not there, they were among the key recruiters. Obviously, they have the best managerial talent. What are they doing? The entire sourcing, not entire, maybe the majority of the sourcing is from vendors who are family businesses. We strip down their costing. Jute bag mein soda ash aata hai na? Now that jute bag you will sell, you will get 20 rupees. So I will reduce that cost from 20 rupees. To that extent, strip down the costing and then allow 3% margin to the vendor. The distributor, money advance, and allow him 3% margin. The fact is that the distributor will have to give credit to the retailers and he will have his own cost, and that's immaterial. And 24% margin to be retained by lever to what they call marketing. And what is the marketing they can do is any product to be launched, hire the superhero and pay him 5 crores. Spend on advertising. Now, with this, what has lever done? Look at it over a period, same segment, same thing, just because they got this idea and the resources to follow exactly what was happening now, bombardment. They started having fancy prices. And there came another company, Gadi detergent soap. The person was selling in 80s, house to house and carrying a stock on cycle. And then working with shops, working with dealers, he started growing and growing and learning about others and learning whatever is there, very agile, very observant, whatever it is, and growing. With that growing, you require different techniques and different things and implementing the technique and growing. And they became 5,000 crore. Now, here was a success story of every family business. Nobody will tell us about it. We will be told about stories largely from foreign kind of concept and something which started bombarding us so much that we started losing confidence in ourselves. But as it is, the decade of 2002 to 2012 made our life so comfortable that now when we go outside, गर्मी बहुत लगती है. Offices सब air condition हो गई ना, तो कोई बाहर जाता ही नहीं. Somewhere inside we started doubting ourselves, so we started avoiding decisions. नहीं इसमें worth नहीं है, उसमें worth नहीं है. And we started attending conferences and started listening to what successful leaders do. And then we were started being told about vision and mission. I really love the passion with which people spoke of vision and mission. I'll tell you, in family business, vision of growth was always there. And vision in general was always there that we have to grow. And vision in particular is only a myth. Nowhere in the world anybody has any vision in particular. If we are told that, you know, Dhirubhai Ambani was filling petrol at a petrol pump in Eden and he had a dream that one day I'll have a refinery, we are not sure whether he had that particular dream or not. But one thing is clear. Today, whenever I go to a petrol pump, person who is filling the petrol, I ask him, तुम्हारे पास में भी कोई सपना है क्या रिफाइनरी बनाने का? हाथ मिला लेते हैं. तुम्हारा क्या विजन है? कल तुम्हारा भी रिफाइनरी बन जाएगा, मैं बोलूंगा मैंने हाथ मिलाया. It's all nonsense. Bill Gates became Bill Gates not because of he had a vision, because IBM executive committed a blunder. Larry Page and Sergey Brin made Google so popular not because they had a vision, because their first acquisition which they were acquired failed and धंधा गले में आ गया. Every story we are told in a twisted way. The fact is different, because the fact is life always unfolds. Nobody can say from very beginning that this is the only way where he will go. Modi ji is so confident, but when Gujarat election is there, there is a little thing happening everywhere. So thinking about future is a myth. Having idea of growth is certain, but we started talking about it. We started talking about what called innovation. You have to innovate. When Gadi detergent guy was packing soap, he realized कि भाई लोगों को डिटर्जेंट चाहिए, तो डिटर्जेंट बनाना चालू कर दो. Then he realized डिटर्जेंट चाहिए, लेकिन पैकिंग में देते ना, थोड़ा अच्छा पैकिंग होगा, अपना नाम भी लगा देना चाहिए उसके, तो उन्होंने अपना लोगो भी लगा दिया, देन कलरफुल पैकेजिंग भी कर दिया. Was it all innovation? If you call it innovation, great. But for us, traditional family business people, this was our way of life. Always be alert, keep looking around for opportunities, and whatever is worthwhile, implement it right away. This is how only we have grown. If Indian family businesses have grown, if Indian economy has grown, it is only because of Indian family businesses. And Indian family businesses have grown because they were always observant, always looking around. And anything that was useful, anything that was required, they'll start adding it into their portfolio. We never called it innovation. That's it. So when you start realizing that we were already doing what we are being told to do today, then you start recognizing that you are not so weak. Hey, you are powerful. And when you realize powerful, then the whole thing starts changing again. Finally, now is a world of startups. I used to always wonder कि जिस दिन किसी को कौन बनेगा करोड़पति में 1 करोड़ रुपया मिल गया ना, तो लोगों ने सोचा यार ये काम काज छोड़ देते हैं, बस खाली केबीसी को वो एसएमएस भेजते रहो. And telecom companies suddenly realized a new business model. Just SMS going to KBC became a big revenue because people started realizing, यार ये काम काज छोड़ दो ना, बस कौन बनेगा करोड़पति में SMS डाल. But similar things have started happening in something in the name of startup. एक आदमी को लॉटरी लग गई, उसके बारे में इतना बैंड बाजा बजता है, और उसको लॉटरी लग गई. एक काम करो, बाकी सब छोड़ दो, लॉटरी खरीदो. And suddenly the whole thing has started that every other thing in the society is useless. Startup is the only thing, because look at their valuation. Nobody understands really what is the meaning of valuation. There is a professor called Damodaran, who is from a business school in US, who started the concept of valuation. He himself is surprised at the current method of valuation, but that is being promoted, and that bombardment and that kind of attack is so strong. One more reason to get demotivated. So now, where are we landing today? Most of the family business have a list of problems, hopeless about future. Next generation not very excited to join the business. General dialogue is this: margin कम होते जा रहे हैं, खर्चे बढ़ते जा रहे हैं, competition is fierce, लोग मिलते नहीं है, मिलते हैं तो टिकते नहीं है. This is one side. And the younger generation, spoiled with being told that younger generation is very smart. They are not. If they were very smart, then they would learn to value what they already have. They were having diamond in their hand, but somebody told them that this is a stone, so they threw away. What it was, once upon a time, again in families, elder, that is the grandparents, will tell stories to the grandchildren. So in those times, stories used to pass from generation to generation, and through the stories, wisdom used to develop. So what was that particular part? There was a poor Brahmin boy. Of course, Brahmin are poor. They were poor at that time. And he would see that other people are playing and whatever it is, and he doesn't have even good clothes. So he comes and complains to his mother. हम इतने गरीब क्यों हैं? मदर ने बोला, हमारे पास में कुछ नहीं है. नहीं, मुझे कुछ चाहिए तो क्या करना चाहिए? जाओ राजा के दरबार में, राजा की तारीफ करो, राजा खुश हो जाएंगे, तुम्हें इनाम देंगे, तुम्हें कुछ मिलेगा. छोटा बच्चा तो बस जितना सुन के चला गया. चलते चलते पहुंच गए राजा के दरबार में. राजा की तारीफ की, राजा तुम महान हो। राजा खुश हो गए, इतना छोटा बच्चा। बोल बेटा तेरे को क्या चाहिए? बच्चे ने बोला मुझे एक बछड़ा चाहिए, क्योंकि उसकी माँ ने बोला था अगर तेरे को एक बछड़ा मिलेगा, बछड़े का ख्याल रखना, उसमें से गाय बनेगी, गाय में से दूध मिलेगा, दूध पी भी सकते हैं, बेच भी सकते हैं, घी बना सकते हैं, वो बेचेंगे तो और पैसा आएगा, हम अमीर बनेंगे, तो बछड़ा लेके आना। राजा बोलते है बस इतना ही? छोटे बच्चे को और क्या चाहिए भाई, माँ ने जो बोला था वो बोल दिया। राजा ने बोला कोठारी उनको दे दो, और राजा अपने काम में आगे बढ़े। कोठारी ने उनको आदमी से भिजवाया, बछड़ा दिया। अभी बच्चा बछड़े को कंधे पे लेके अपने गांव की ओर जा रहा है, बहुत खुश है। बस अभी सोच रहा है बछड़े में से गाय बनेगी, दूध मिलेगा, घी मिलेगा, पैसा मिलेगा, वॉटेवर वॉटेवर। अभी वहां पे से कोई 4 चोर गुजर रहे थे। उन्होंने देखा कि इसके पास में बछड़ा है, ले लेते हैं। फिर उसमें से एक बोलता है अरे तेरे को पता है ये राजा ने उसको दिया है, अगर राजा को पता चलेगा ना हमने उससे छीन लिया, अपनी तो हालत खराब। ये चोर है ना, चतुर चोर थे। वो बोल रहे हैं क्या हम ऐसा करें ना, हम क्यों उससे छीन लें, वही फेंक दे तो। दूसरा बोलता है अरे वो क्यों फेंकेगा, वो तो इतनी मेहनत करके उसने लिया है, वो तो लेके घर पे जाएगा। नहीं कुछ करते ना। बस उन्होंने आपस में बात कर ली और शुरू। थोड़े जब बच्चा आगे चल रहा है, फिर उसमें से एक चोर सामने आता है। अरे तू तो ब्राह्मण लग रहा का बेटा लग रहा है। हाँ लग रहा हूँ ना। कंधे पे कुत्ते को लेके क्यों जा रहा है? अरे ये कुत्ता नहीं है, ये बछड़ा है, दिखता नहीं है। अच्छा बाबा तेरी मर्जी, दिख तो रहा है कुत्ता लेकिन तुझे लग रहा है बछड़ा, तो फिर तू जा। और पास हो गया। थोड़े टाइम के बाद में दूसरा चोर उसके सामने आया। वाह 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 वाह, क्या जमाना आ गया। बच्चा बोलता है क्यों क्या हुआ? अरे ब्राह्मण के बच्चे को कुत्ते को लेके जाते हुए हमने पहली बार देखा। बोलते ये कुत्ता नहीं है, ये बछड़ा है। तू छोटा है ना, तेरे को मूर्ख बनाया लगता है। कुत्ता है, कुत्ते को कंधे पे लेके मत जा, पर तेरी मर्जी। वो भी चला गया। अभी तीसरा लड़ आया, वो तो उसको देख के ही हंसने लगा, हा क्यों हंस रहे हो? भाई कुत्ते को कोई कंधे पे लेके जाता है? अभी ये बच्चा सोचने लगा कि शायद पहले भी गया, दूसरा भी बोला, ये तीसरा भी बोल रहा है। नहीं 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 ऐसा नहीं होगा, राजा ने खुद ने दिया है, हो नहीं सकता है। नहीं नहीं मैं तो जा रहा हूँ। ठीक है भी तू जा। अभी जब चौथा चोर आया, चौथे ने भी बोला तू कुत्ती को क्यों लेके जा रहा है? तब ये बच्चा सोचने लगा ऐसा तो कभी शायद हो सकता है कि बछड़ा कैसा है मुझे तो नहीं मालूम। राजा ने तो बोला था कि बछड़ा देना, लेकिन जिसने दिया ना उसने अगर कुत्ता दे दिया होगा तो। और अगर मैं ये लेके जा रहा हूं अपने गांव में और अपनी माँ को बताऊंगा कि मैं बछड़ा लेके आया, और अगर वो कुत्ता निकला तो। पहले चोर ने उसके दिमाग में थोड़ा आइडिया डाला, दूसरे ने डाउट डाला, तीसरे ने डाउट को स्ट्रॉन्ग किया, और बाद में उसका हो गया फियर। तो मेरी और मजाक होगी, मेरी बदनामी होगी करके उसने बछड़ा फेंक दिया। बस ये चीज वो ब्राह्मण बच्चे के साथ में हुई थी, आज अपने फैमिली बिजनेस के साथ में हुई। अपने पास में बछड़ा था, लेकिन किसी ने अपने को बोला कुत्ता है, किसी और ने और जोर से बोला कुत्ता है, किसी जोर ने और जोर से बोला, तो हमने अपना बछड़ा फेंक दिया। और अभी तलाश में है कि क्या करेंगे। Every family business has phenomenal strength. Just look at your parents and the parents of your parents, from where, what modest origin they came, but the phenomenal power was their values, their care for the family, their responsibility to the family, and feeling secure in the family. Their concern for the society, their concern for the community, every school, every hospital, every college, every temple, every dharamshala, every bhojanshala is made by the contribution of the business family. Business families were so confident and so big, heart-wise, उनका वन रूम किचन के घर में भी गेस्ट आके एडजस्ट हो जाते। उनके घर में खाना ऐसा होता था कि कभी भी कोई आएगा भूखा नहीं जाएगा, खाने में एडजस्ट हो जाएगा। उन्होंने एक ही चीज सीखी है, हम लोग पैदा हुए हाथ ऐसा रखने के लिए नहीं। माई स्पेस, मुझे क्या मिलेगा, मेरा क्या फायदा, ये सब कहीं और की सोच है। मैं क्या कंट्रीब्यूट कर सकता हूँ, मेरी कितनी ताकत है, मैं दूसरे के लिए और क्या कर सकता हूँ, ये अपनी कल्चर है। And it is this which has made us so capable. Today, because of, if you look at it, our strength, today has a time come of what is called reverse East India Company. Europe, I'm not talking about the current situation of the war scenario that is going on for Ukraine. Even before, Europe was gradually declining. Next generation, no interest in business. People who are doing 300% margin started to work with 30% margin. The business people are not so interested. सबके पेट भरे हुए हैं. We are hungry. We are dynamic. If we just realize our internal capacities, then what is it that we can do? Three things. Again, I'll tell you about family, I'll tell you management, and about the business. I'll start with the business. Business-wise, if you multiply your profit 10 times in next 3 to 4 years, you are not doing anything great. It is something that you are already geared up for. You know, when you are in the first gear, you put a lot of effort and you get less result. When you get into the top gear, it's exactly opposite. Now at the business part, you are already ready to go to the top gear. Of course, you have to take a decision, but provided you decide, you go to the top gear. And when you go to the top gear, it means growth. With much less effort, you get phenomenal result. All your effort and energy that we have put in last 20 years or 30 years, this is the time to harvest the crop. We have the knowledge, we have the experience, we have the resources, we have the wisdom, we have the experience of the world. Now is the time to run. As far as management is concerned, have confidence in yourself. You are already capable. You have an ability to get above average work done from average people. Of course, if you are working with 20 people, our management ability will work. If we have to work with 200 people and 2000 people, we will need to learn how to work with 200 people and 2000 people. Little change, not too much, but little change. And as far as the family is concerned, you have a bigger role to play. Because in families, everybody is being carried away by the bombardment that is going on. If everybody at the time, once upon a time, was supposed to be having lunch and dinner together, even if they are having lunch and dinner together, everybody is looking into their mobile, something is seriously to be addressed. It was more than 10 years ago when somebody told me, दुनिया का हर इंसान सर उठा के चल सकता है अगर उसके हाथ में मोबाइल फोन नहीं हो तो. Mobile phone है तो obviously it is like this. And only the thing has worsened over the years. Pandemic was a brilliant period to learn about hundreds of new things in the world. Instead, for many of them, it became a brilliant period to master a game called Candy Crush. And with this, all the things that we are looking at, some fear has come up over us. Some kind of gloominess has come up. All the people, instead of seeing bright future, brilliant thing to happen, started becoming a little nervous about the future. And because of the nervousness about the future, we started doubting everything that is happening now and everything happened in the past. Here is my authority to say. Why do I say authority? No person in the world Forget about any professional or professor from the West. No person in the world has got that exposure of interacting with 6,000 family businesses, Asian, largely Indian. I had the privilege to do that. And just because of that, I recognize two things that are very, very vital. Like one, we are not superior than anybody else in the world. If in our culture there were Vedas and Vedanta, Upanishads and scriptures, is not created by us, and they never told that this was only for this country. It was always universal. So we are not talking about being superior than anybody else in the world. But very important is the second line. We are not inferior than anybody else also. If others can do it in their way, we can do it in our way. We don't have to copy their way of working. It's not that West has been extremely successful. Look at it. What is Europe? 200 years they've robbed the world. Continue to rob even now. And what is US? Selling weapons all over the world, creating fight. If they were educated and enlightened society, should they not have rebuilt against the way their country, just for the sake of their prosperity, is creating terror all over the world? They might be rich because of the loot that they have taken from the world, but internally they are hollow. In America, 25% of the population is taking depression drugs. Of course, the last 7-8 years, I can see in India, in my environment, large number of people getting into depression. The word depression is becoming common because only we are following that Brahmin boys syndrome. अपने पास में बछड़ा है, but there systematically doubt has been created in us. We started forgetting about our inherent strength and started surrendering this idea and giving up what valuable precision we have. We have diamond. We have been made to believe that it is stone, so we throw the stone. And they are giving us stone and they are telling us that that is called diamond, so we have started chasing it. All that I would think of, and in fact, a lot of people are already realizing everything depends on your future. If you look that your future is bright, you are going to grow 10 times more in next few years, obviously you are on the right track because you will already start taking inventory of your strength and you will have belief in the powerful foundation that you already have. On the other hand, if you are nervous about the future, don't blame yourself because you are the victim of the bombardment that has already taken place. All those who tell you that family businesses have no future, they have no exposure and they don't understand the power of family business. Family businesses are going to drive the world, and particularly our family businesses have an opportunity to take over the world. We need to learn what is something called speed. Today is a time of 3S. Skill. Whatever you are doing, do superb. Tremendous depth, tremendous grip, best in the world. Best in the world. Now, is it arrogance to claim to be best in the world? I am a family business professor and I would say I am best in the world. Our culture says anything that is good is by the grace of the God. Don't claim credit. Anything that is bad, I have done it. Well, this part is fair to prevent us from becoming arrogant. But to be arrogant is different than to have proud about what you have done. If I have interacted with 6,000 families all over the country with all kinds of industries, I have done it. And I don't know anybody in the world who has done it. So that is it. So not to be arrogant, but to be proud, we are capable to grow. This is the particular message that whether I give or I don't give, but I'm sure family businesses in India, all across the place, in all the segment, in all the industry, are gearing up for this kind of growth. Now, most of the things that we have been doing will continue to be done. But there is a last thing that we need to keep in mind. There is something called adaptation. When the world around us is changing, what should we do? Should we change or should we not change? If everybody says Starbucks, should I go with them Starbucks or not? Everybody is traveling by plane. Should I travel by plane or not? So there are three kind of responses to the change. One is called lack of adaptation. Lack of adaptation. Let everything change around me, but I will not change. There was a movie called Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum. Amitabh Bachchan says, "Hamari parampara hai," and that's it. Let the world change, but we will not change. And what happened? Even dinosaurs vanished. All those who refused to change with the world vanished. Then there is something called simple adaptation. Just follow whatever the world says. Cockroach is an example of simple adaptation. In every environment, in every part of the world, with every time, cockroaches can survive. Adapt everything. It's called simple adaptation. And last, you can do simple adaptation, but then you remain cockroach. And the last is called growing adaptation. Some of the things I will change and some of the things I will not change. Some of the things which I know are the real strength of myself, I will retain. And some of the things which are peripheral and which needs to be changed to respond, I will change. That is called growing adaptation. So with this line, once again, just reminding two main things, and I close my talk. First, your life is determined by your dream of the future. If you are excited, you will be happy about the present and you will be proud about the family background that you have. Second, the world is changing. Of course, nothing new. World has been changing all the time. Lack of adaptation is a guaranteed way of destruction. Simple adaptation is a guaranteed way of becoming cockroach. Growing adaptation, retaining the power that you have and accommodating and adjusting to the changes that is there. Thank you very much.
Sir, thanks for the scintillating talk. Prashant, we already have some questions and I have some on WhatsApp. Will you start taking the questions and I can pitch in later on? First, take participants' questions.
Yeah, so I have first question from Mr. George. How are family business models changing? What are the specific new trends? How do we align family business models moving forward into digital era? Kindly also explain the impact of valuation driven funding models and business models will have on various family business models.
Family businesses are changing, partly losing their confidence in their roots. Those who are having confidence in their roots, or sooner or later, you know, there are cycles. So soon there will be people realizing the value of their roots. And once that is there, the whole thing like valuation and all is what is happening, new things around the world. And whatever is happening, we should take advantage. So if family businesses realize this root, be together, be as a team, think about growing, then the advantage of valuation is what you got in the recent IPO issue of what is a Bhujia wala company called Bikaji. Now, it was supposed to be a Bhujia making company. And today you look at the valuation that they get. The world is there if we are strong on our foundation, each one of us can take advantage of this.
I have another question from Mr. Sodhi. The times are changing and the constant, that's a constant. I'm sure people in 1900 had something to say in the generation then as well. And when the millennials became older, they will also have some unrest with the changes around them. Family business owners send their children for higher education, and that's obvious that they will come back with more and different knowledge that is given. What needs to be changed in a thought process of an older generation as well to accept the new world order?
First of all, it is not so much of the new world order that we are talking about. It has been a much bigger propaganda than actually a new world order. For example, if startups were already doing extremely great, then it was a different thing. But propaganda of startup is much more than what it is. We are talking about mobile, and mobile we are talking about Uber. We had radio taxis 30 years ago. Musk is talking about robots doing something. Robots started in societies in 1960s. Now, so many things that are being talked about, bombardment was there already earlier. You know, there is a guy called Alfred Nobel in 1865. He wanted to set up a factory for dynamite. And his grandmother helped him, took loan from her, one of her friends, whom they never called it venture capital, but there were venture people who were funding venture all along the time. So there is nothing so much of a difference. What happens is that when children go abroad, they get new terminology and we fail to give them our terminology. Aditya Birla was the first one from the Birla family to go to MIT to do his engineering. But his grandfather did not give him up. He continued to inculcate in him our business families. So after the convocation, the entire Birla family went to MIT where his convocation was there. Then his grandfather told him, all others go back. Aditya Birla will tour the entire America with his friends. His grandfather will stay in New York every day, 3 times a day. Aditya Birla was supposed to talk to his grandfather. Now, this whole thing is that sending children abroad is perfectly all right to get new terminology, but we also need to inculcate in them pride about our things that is going on. I see a lot of parents having given up this idea that let them learn from the West. And the environment is also so strong that we have started ourselves, instead of our transferring the values to the next generation, many of the parents themselves have started into doubting their strength. I believe, really speaking, when parents just look at the kind of richness that we have, our children should learn from everywhere in the world, and eventually with our foundation, combining the two, make all businesses global.
Thank you. There is a question from Mr. Devpal. Do you still see a big difference in the Asian and Occidental business models? 3 top things can be adapted from the Western models.
Will anybody tell us that what Western people should 3 top things adapt from us? The whole point is even adapting from the West is a message that they are giving us. Of course, we have to learn from everywhere in the world. But we also should be proud about what we have. So you already know, whoever has asked the question, you already know about so many things from the West. I would just request you, can you make an agenda of 3 top things that we should be proud about ourselves and really build on it? And of course, learn whatever you can from everywhere in the world.
I have one more question from Mr. George. Will you share some good examples of family businesses attracting a person from outside the family and this person either transforming the business or taking it to new heights? Can you also share the thoughts on the following: life cycle of theory of leadership, father-son rivalry, sibling rivalry, spouse in the business, in-laws in the business, Now even stepchild as a such relation both in management and ownership.
Fantastic. The entire syllabus of a family dynamics dictated by the West. Succession planning. From where did you get the word? Because in India, we never talked about succession planning. We used to talk about induction planning. बच्चे को कब से धंधे में तैयार करना है. Father son generation gap coming from the West. अपने यहाँ तो बेटे बाप का पैर छूने की बात थी. Father son complementation with each other, that was always there. Two generation always, of course, grew up in different time, will have different idea, and that is why they're working together is never a conflict. It is a respect for each other and complementation. So I'll tell you, this entire family business dynamics has been so much spoken by people from the West who themselves may not have any family, and then we are just blindly copying them. I would suggest look at whatever you want to look at it, but learn to question the source and the power of whatever is being spoken.
There is a question from Mr. Upen Ashar. Sir, thanks, very inspiring. You mentioned SSS, skill was explained. What is other two S's?
Fantastic. You took notes of whatever I was saying. Okay, skill is very good. The second thing is scale. Natural ice cream, the father started one outlet. And according to him, in the way he was formed, his period of 80 to 2000, one outlet well managed is called the business. Now is a time to multiply the outlet, but how many? 100. And then next will be 1000. That is called scale. Of course, it's called Chinese bamboo. To make foundation, it's a lot of time. But once foundation is done, now is the time to shoot up 7 feet within few months. So that is scale, and that will come with the third word called speed. If from one shop or one office or one location, another location take you 10 years, it doesn't mean that the third one will take another 10. 1 to 2, 2 to 4, 4 to 10, like this, we grow exponentially. Speed. Whatever we want to achieve in life, next 5 years, not 5 decades. Skill, scale, and speed are the three I's.
Thank you. There's another question from Mr. Bansal. We are a family-owned logistics business. We are working together with our father. We are trying to make new strides, but please suggest the best way to have a family hierarchy and role delegation.
Best way of family was everybody was talking to each other. Mr. Bansal, you would have seen in your family 10 years ago, how was the supposed to be communication and how it is happening now. 10 years ago, we were having time enough to tell each other, aaj ye hua, aaj ye hua. Today, you are already saying that everybody is looking at their own area and we do not interfere with each other. Now, ये जो interfere word है ना, वो अपने family का नहीं था, ये बाहर से आया गया word. So, if you are saying that somewhere you develop and reinforce the camaraderie, the team spirit among all of you, who gets more, who contributes more, is not as important as together what we can do. If you can give a thought to this, if you can give us a certain kind of mechanism where you all sit together at a certain frequency and talk. This whole idea of family meeting, that is just meeting once in a week. Earlier in a joint family, in a big house, common hall, everybody used to bump on each other constantly. Now we don't have, so we have to replace it with some kind of mechanism of family participation, family discussion, family communication, learning to give, recollecting and reinforcing our family values, and building a collective dream of becoming a global company.
We have another question from Mr. Devpal Menon. Should the next generation of owners be limited to family members, or is employing directors one of the best things in the family business?
Yes, directors were always there. There was nothing new. Now you are giving a formal position. जब हमारे यहाँ 40 साल पहले भी फैक्ट्री रखते थे ना, तो एक मैनेजर ही चलाता था, कोई ओनर कोई रोज नहीं चलाता था. Now the only question is we have given it a new title. The question is, we have a history of Amitabh Bachchan, who was a good actor, and somebody told him that you can start a business, and he started a business, but he said, I didn't know how to run. Professional को रख लो, बाहर वाले चलाएंगे. And that is how one gentleman from Lever was hired, and he started the business, grew phenomenally. And then happens 1999, 31st December 1999, night 11 o'clock 55 p.m. Amitabh Bachchan is writing in his diary, in next 5 minutes, the whole world will celebrate the new year. Not only new year, new decade. Not only new decade, new century. Not only new century, new millennium. 1/1/2000 was a change of millennium. At that time, I am sitting here and my house is on auction and hundreds of Section 138 cases on me, checks are bouncing. That came the question, what happened to that professional manager? He resigned and got a job next day in PepsiCo with a very high package. Understand, if your family in India, we don't have anything called limited liability company. It is only namesake. You take bank loan, you have to give personal guarantee. And everything else of your family is at stake. Of course, we will need to work with people who are far more capable than us, but we will also have to learn how to work with them. It's very clear, if you have one shop, you can manage yourself. The moment you are going to have 100, of course, you will need to take help of others who can do it, who has done it before you. So we can build only if we can have people who are more capable than us. Without that, in Bombay, we have a Matki Ford. If people who are more capable than us, who are not at the base, only on them we can sit and climb, cut the Matki Ford सकते हैं. तो अपने से ज्यादा capable लोगों के साथ में काम करना is an essential thing, and if we want to grow, we will need to learn. So this is one of the art that we need to learn, but we can't leave it on them. हम लोग अयाशी करेंगे और वो लोग अपना बिजनेस लेके जाएंगे, ऐसा दुनिया में कभी होता नहीं.
Shantanu ji, would you like to take a few questions that you had? You're on mute, Shantanu ji.
First, take the participant questions. Haresh has given one question.
I have not seen Harish's
Yeah.
question.
How does one?
It just came in. Yeah. How does one foresee family business over generations? Family grows and needs grows through thoughts become different, acceptance of new ideas.
This is nothing new. Families have been always growing. It's not for the first time in the history families are growing. And when one generation and another generation, can you imagine a generation when there was no radio? You know, I come from a very, very old generation in which when I was very small, Binaka Geet Mala was supposed to be a great favorite, great hit, because on Wednesday evening, Amin Sahani 1 hour music program. Now, obviously, my father generation did not have radio. So new generation will always, new things have been happening. Nothing new is happening now. The only thing is, earlier, elder had an agenda. Groom my son or daughter to become better than me over a period of time. And the younger one had a humility that professors of the world can tell me about how the world works. My father has already lived the way the world works. Other people can tell me how to make money. My father has already made money. So when the younger generation re-recognizes, in our society, it was there. 2002 onwards, the bombardment, suddenly a new thing has come up. Now, if we re-recognize, my father is better than me, these two together makes a powerful complementing formula for growth. Again, this is nothing new, which has been there in Indian culture for all the time. All that you need to know is आपके कंधे पे बछड़ा है, कुत्ता नहीं है. अपनी जो ताकत है उसको फेंक के दूसरे के पत्थर मत.
Mr. Suri had a question. Ultimately, older generation needs to change the conversation that the younger generation is observing. When we talk about our business and industry in good light, the new generation will feel pride in wanting to join the family business. Our actions are so loud that our children can't hear what we say.
Yes, that is what is the plea. अरे जब आप आपके फादर की बात करो ना, अरे कुछ भी नहीं होगा तो बोलेंगे अरे हो जाएगा. That confidence we don't have because we have been victim of this bombardment. We have started doubting our ability. हम अभी आजकल लोग क्या बात करते हैं, अपने पास में क्या नहीं है. You know, we have a house, we have a car, we have a bank balance. You know, when we started, we had nothing. And then we have started becoming philosopher, आस्था चैनल देखने लगे, वर्क लाइफ बैलेंस की बात करने लगे. All these things have started coming into it instead of talking about business. Eat business, drink business, live business, and there is nothing called retirement. Last over के last ball तक खेलना है. And if you are playing full game, of course your next generation will work with you, and together you make a good combination.
Mr. Mehta has a question. How can a single owner manufacturing company grow sales and reach the various places when there are existing dealers, distributors already there in the market, competition products?
Again, this is nothing new. दुनिया में कुछ भी माल बेचने जाते हैं ना, तो सबका घर तो चल ही रहा है. अभी जब सबका घर चल रहा है, सबका काम हो रहा है, सबका, तो मेरा माल कौन लेगा? This is a common question everybody faced all the time. When a young person came from Rajasthan to Mumbai in Samuel Street, Vadgadi, to talk about business of chemicals, obviously chemical business was going on. But there was a determination. Determination था तो क्या किया? एक छोटा बच्चा था. It was a 9-year-old person who came to Bombay. Bhat Bazaar, that is a grain market of Bombay. He started working there. What work? No shame, any work. Truck, when it is loaded and unloaded, some grain fall down. After the truck goes, he'll collect with the jharu the grain, clean the grain, and then sell it. After some time, because his observation was very clear, very nice with people, relate with people, he started developing contact and he started doing brokerage in grain market. Sharp as we are, blood mein hai sharpness, sharp as we are, observant as we are, we didn't worry about what foreign educators said. What we said is, ये माल ले रहा है, ये माल बेच रहा है, इसमें अपना मलाई है, कमा के he started became a trader. उन्होंने एक दुकान ले ली और फिर क्या और वैल्यू एडिशन, आटे की फैक्ट्री डाली. और क्या हुआ? आटे की फैक्ट्री में आग लगी. देयर वाज अ बिग डिसास्टर एंड देयर वाज अ हैवी बोरोइंग. फिर क्या हुआ? कुछ नहीं, कसम लिया, अपना घर बेच देते. एक लेंडर का पैसा जब तक नहीं चुकाऊंगा ना, मेरे लिए घर नहीं खरीदूंगा. And it took him 15 years to repay everyone. This is the family spirit. This is the business spirit. This is the moral spirit. If you are strong, understand, everywhere there is a gap. Because ultimately our idea is that nothing is there perfect in the world. भगवान ने भी है ना perfect दुनिया नहीं बनाई. मार्केट कौन सा perfect? आप किसी के पास में भी जाओगे, सब लोग बोलेंगे हमारा तो काम चल रहा है. But what do we do differently that will help that person make more money than whatever he is making now is what has to be thought through. So there is a whole subject in our program called business is customer. And when we talk about customer, we have to understand competition. Competition की क्या weakness है ना, वो समझना जरूरी. ताकत समझ के कोई फायदा नहीं. उसकी जो weakness है, वो अगर अपनी strength बन जाए, then it becomes our success. Body detergent had no money to pay for advertisement. But the weakness of lever was that because they thought that it is their full product, they will not give any incentive or any real credit to distributors. So distributors in turn will not do so much of distribution. बस ये चीज पकड़ के घड़ी डिटर्जेंट ने डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन में पेनेट्रेट किया. So identifying the weakness of the competition and guaranteed everywhere there are some strengths, some weakness. अगर आप एक तो कॉन्फिडेंट हो, किसी भी हालत में जीतना है, that is called burning the bridges. वापस नहीं जाना है, जीतना ही है, तो फिर आपको ये सब दिखेगा. अगर आपके पास में दूसरे ऑप्शन खड़े हैं, तो आप तो बस वही बोलोगे, यार मैं तो सब करना चाहता हूं लेकिन कुछ होता नहीं.
Thank you. Mr. Suri has one more question. I agree that the world is exposed with the information overloaded and the new generation is aware of more options in the market. Are you suggesting that we should not look onwards? Could it be the older generation is restricting to see the change around them, just like we would look at our parents and see their struggle in accepting changes?
We should take the change, certainly. But let's be very clear, younger generation is not exposed about only more options in the world. That is only 5%. 95% is the propaganda that is exposed to. And what is important is called Vivek, ability to distinguish between the real and the fake. Somewhere our next generation needs hand-holding to understand the difference. Second, in my opinion, the elder people are aware. They are on the Zoom today. They are using the technology. In all their offices, tally is there. They are using the technology. Somewhere they are skeptical about all the claims being made by people. They are also right. It is only mutual respect, open, need not reject everything new as useless, and younger generation should not believe that everything that is glittering is gold. This is where we discuss about growing adaptation. What from the old to retain, what from the new to adapt.
Thank you. I have a question from an anonymous attendee. How can we increase the profit?
This is not a family business issue, actually.
Okay.
We can
Skip
take
that.
it
Yeah, I'll
separately.
skip
Yeah,
that then.
yeah.
There is one question from Mr. Limda. Parents think kids can get experience from other similar but bigger businesses by taking up jobs and contributing more to their own business eventually. What are your thoughts on this?
This is a myth, because when you work in another company, you are not being taken as a EA to chief executive. If you becoming EA to Rajiv Bajaj, then it's okay. You will learn really how the businesses work. But if in big business you are working in one corner in one department, how do you really understand what do they work? This whole idea, you may learn to dress properly. You may learn to reach there on time. You may learn when to leave the office. But these are not really so precious. Really speaking, if you want to learn from some other business, for example, Bansal's worked in Amazon, understood their business model with very clear idea that we'll start the business model. Then it is a different thing. But just this idea of pushing our children away, ideally the best learning is working under the father. The father has already done a great thing. Do a program like one of the management program. We offer a program like this, any program, and learn about how others are doing. Just to learn how others are doing, you don't have to invest 2-3 years of your life in working in some corner of a big company. Work with the father from the age of 10, 12, 14, 15, whenever, sooner the better. Respect the father for whatever he is doing. Chai la ke do, pani la ke do, father ke driver ban jao. The best wisdom transmission from one generation to another can happen only if we are together. आपने के मूवी तो देखा होगा ना, हाथ पकड़ते हैं ना, तो नॉलेज और विजडम एक जनरेशन का दूसरे में ट्रांसमिट होता है, लेकिन उसके लिए ऐसा हाथ पकड़ना पड़ता है.
Okay. Shantanu, I'm done with.
You brought a different dimension altogether than what we normally read. And the actually, whatever you say takes me 40 years back because I was 1/3 of my age. And the first question all my customers, top people used to ask me, when will you professionalize? And I used to ask, what does it mean to professionalize? It's that you stop doing your own business and have someone else to do your business. Whereas their top boss, who was the owner, always used to say is having professionals is hiring someone like rats to run a ship. They are the first one to jump the ship when the going is difficult rather than making effort to keep it afloat. So along with this, I think you gave many examples which are
Just I need to correct the record here. We have to learn to work with people who are more capable than us. It is not that they are useless, but we have to learn. Just leaving it on them and the idea that they will run and we will relax, that is wrong.
yes, sir. And sir, there was a lot of unlearning also because a lot of bombarding gives an illusion of learning. So there was a big message from you to go back to the roots. I think that's a very strong message. My question is, we still see a big trend and that will attract a lot of next generations to the new models of valuation where suddenly in 3-4 years you see not millions but billions coming, and that's a lot of temptation there. An idea is to sell and move on. Whereas here we will have to be firmly rooted and grow the business. So any suggestions of how do we keep that commitment in the coming generation? Because that's a big consideration for attracting the new generation.
First of all, I would strongly suggest my new generation students. I have all my students, all my life I work with students. This whole notion that you know better is a mistaken notion. आज बिलियंस ऑफ डॉलर की जो वैल्यूएशन होती है ना, उसका मतलब नहीं कि उसके हाथ में बिलियंस ऑफ डॉलर्स आता है. It is only a number. That's one. Second, एक आदमी को लॉटरी लगा, उसके लिए लाखों लोग लॉटरी खरीदने लगे. Third, any business can take advantage of this current trend and really take the advantage of valuation. That is what you can see. नायका कर क्या रहे, लिपस्टिक बेच रहे, लेकिन 1 लाख करोड़ का वैल्यूएशन का बेनिफिट तो ले लिया ना. भिकाजी वाले भुजिया बेच रहे, 1000 करोड़ का आईपीओ तो कर लिया. तो all of us can do that also. But from what you have, it is giving you a foundation. आपका family business है ना, is not your destiny. Your family business, first of all, is your school. You learn what is customer. You learn what is execution. You learn दूसरों से कैसे काम कराते. You learn about money. You learn about the challenges. Suddenly lockdown आ गया, क्या करेंगे? All that learning, one. Second, your family business gives you an identity to move around. But your future is as per the opportunities that will unfold in front of you. Best example is Aziz Premji, family business, cooking oil, eventually became IT. Our next generation people are not necessarily going to take the same thing that we are doing now for next 30 years. Nobody believes it. Learn to be open, but learn to value your roots and everything build on that. Take advantage of valuation. Why not?
I think we will exceed time, but Prashant, take question from Ramkrishna. It's a very relevant and
I
very
know.
important
I
question.
was just going to say that.
Very
I'll take this
important
question.
question.
Today's younger generation feels technology would replace human and does not respect the contribution of the people. Therefore, attrition rates are much greater the moment younger generation takes over. What is the way out?
First of all, is a mistaken thing that they think that they will replace. They don't know the value of people. They don't know the value of even family members. They don't know value of the employees. and they don't know the value of how things are done. So first is the learning of real education. Even if the technology is going to replace people, to handle technology, you will need people. And even if they will replace, as and when they will replace, दिखा जाएगा. तभी तक तो चलना पड़ेगा ना आदमी को. तभी तक अगर जिंदा रहना है ना, तो जो लोग गाड़ी चला रहे हैं ना, उसके कंधे पे ही हम लोग जिंदा रह सकते हैं. It is really a power of humility, and somewhere ये नए जनरेशन को है ना, लोगों ने बिगाड़ दिया है. ये बहुत नया जनरेशन है, बहुत नया जनरेशन है, तो बहुत एरोगेंस आ गई. They have started exactly absolutely stupid people like that Brahmin boy. अपने हाथ में डायमंड था, उसको उन्होंने फेंक दिया, अपने फैमिली वैल्यू को फेंक दिया, अपने फादर से कुछ सीखने की जरूरत नहीं है, और दुनिया भर से जो पत्थर मिलते हैं वो घर में लाके सजा के रखते हैं. So really speaking, I would believe all parents have a responsibility to own up their children, have a dialogue with them, respect them for whatever they have, but gradually tell them and inculcate in them humility. ऑफिस खोलने के लिए प्यून जितना जरूरी है ना, ओनर जितना जरूरी है, उतना प्यून भी जरूरी है. एंड वी कैन ओनली, कल मैं हमारे स्टूडेंट को बोलता हूँ, कल रात को आपके गोडाउन में से एक ट्रक माल निकल जाएगा, आपको कौन सी टेक्नोलॉजी से पता चलेगा? एंड दे से सीसीटीवी. Then I explain them, do you see CCTV every day about the whole night, previous night? No, we have ERP system. ERP system में कोई एंट्री करेगा तो पता चलेगा ना कि माल गया. And suddenly you realize that technology and everything is fine, but our real strength is people. पूरा बिजनेस जीरो भी हो जाएगा ना, अगर अपनी अच्छी टीम तैयार है ना, तो कहां से कहां जा सकते हैं. मैं आपको 3 एग्जांपल देता हूं. एक है JRD टाटा. नाम सुना है आपने JRD टाटा? यंग जनरेशन को मैं पूछता हूं, आप सबको तो मालूम ही होगा, मैं यंग जनरेशन को बताता हूं, JRD टाटा एंड जमशेदजी टाटा आर नॉट सेम, दे आर डिफरेंट. पहले तो ये भी नई बात है ना. दूसरी बात, JRD टाटा वाज वेरी गुड एट व्हाट? ही वाज वेरी गुड एट फ्लाइंग एयरक्राफ्ट. जब कराची टू मुंबई पहली फ्लाइट पार्सल लेके आनी थी ना, तो JRD टाटा ने चलाया. बट टाटा में तो इतने बिजनेसेस थे, टाटा स्टील, टाटा मोटर्स, इंडियन होटल, टाटा स्टील, टाटा केमिकल्स, टाटा टेक्सटाइल, टाटा कंसल्टिंग सर्विसेज. ये सब बनाए किसने? JRD ने नहीं बनाया. टाटा स्टील वाज रूसी मोदी, टाटा मोटर्स वाज मुलगांवकर, टाटा केमिकल्स वाज दादी सेठ, इंडियन होटल्स केलकर, टाटा कंसल्टेंसी what Mr. I just missed the name.
Khosla, I think, Mr. Khosla.
Mr. Kohli.
Kohli.
Now, when Mr. Kohli says that we should do IT, all the JRDs says go ahead. And then it is his ability to work with these people that JRD became JRD. Lakshmi Mittal took 10 years to stabilize in one factory. And then he thought about taking another factory. Then he realized कि जिंदगी में 10 साल चले गए एक फैक्ट्री बनाते, अगर ऐसे ही करूंगा ना तो 3-4 फैक्ट्री बन सकती है. एक रेडी फैक्ट्री ले लेते. पॉकेट में पैसा नहीं है, रेडी फैक्ट्री लेना है, तो क्या किया? एक ट्रिनिडाड में एक सीक यूनिट था which was losing millions of dollars a month. उन्होंने बोला we will take over the company, we will run the company, we will give you money. Cutting story short, when he took over the company, he did not turn around. It was his team of people who went there and who turned around the operations. In short time, they told him, "अभी ये तैयार हो गया, लोगों को तैयार कर दिया, अभी आप दूसरा take over करो." In 10 years, from 87 till 97, if Lakshmi Mittal became the largest steel producer in the world, it was not because he was a wizard. He had a team of people who could turn around a sick company into a profitable company. Really speaking, we can grow only and only if we have a team of people whom we respect. And that is why human resource was called an asset. This is something that the younger generation need to learn.
But sir, this is again an old issue. I mean, I can go back to 80s where people didn't use technology as a word. People said computers will do it in future. The jargon is different, but the thought is the same.
Yes, absolutely. And this is where, person like me with a very, very long life, I mean, already 46 years, I can see so many things happening, the same thing again. There was an OTC exchange and now there is an SME exchange. Now, absolutely ditto to ditto same. OTC exchange died. How can SME exchange survive? Now we can see, because we have seen the things. The only point is when we can communicate with our next generation, the biggest handicap our next generation has is that they have developed an arrogance. If they learn to touch the feet of the Father, this will be the biggest achievement in their life. An arrogant person cannot झुक नहीं सकता, और जो आदमी झुका ना, एक सेकंड में बॉडी की केमिस्ट्री चेंज होती है, ह्यूमिलिटी आती है. और फादर जब सर पे हाथ रखता है ना, एक सेकंड में अभी तक की सब गलतियां माफ. This is a magical relation Indian family system has. I can explain you hundreds of things. तो मैं स्टूडेंट को क्या बोलता हूँ, अगर अपनी समझ में नहीं आया ना तो ब्लाइंडली फॉलो करो. Indian traditional system is one of the most powerful system in the world. जिस दिन गोरे लोग उसकी थियरी बना के आपको सिखाएंगे और आप वहां जाके सीखोगे, वो अलग बात है. But other than that, realize that we are what we are because we have phenomenal strength.
One last question. While coming days are definitely exciting, how do you reconcile the absence of somebody to take and run your family business and the growth prospects?
Yes, but this is nothing new. Even reconciling with someone who was doing and is no more is what we can call technically death. Technically, death means I'm not talking about physical death of any person, but whenever you think something that was happening in one way, everything was taken for granted, things were moving, and suddenly that person is not there. So now we see darkness ahead. But this is a rule of the nature that old is surpassed by new. So certainly there will be a certain lag. We will be behind by 2-3 years, but we need to rebuild, and everything depends on our najar. If we are driven for growth, we will learn to accept whatever is not in our hand, take charge of whatever is in our hand, and to continue our journey forward.
Fine. I think Tarun, let's conclude now. We already had a lot of questions, sir. The indication of interest is a lot of questions. And maybe we will have something more concrete being given to the members in time to come. So Tarun, please.
Thank you, Dr. Parimal Merchant. I have so many points noted for sum up, but I think the time is very short and I should brief up. I think only thing that I feel that, out of so many points that I've noted is that we must feel confident for our roots of the family business. Value what we have and nurture it to grow. And not to forget our inherent strength. Only things we need to bring is speed and bring adaptation. The 3S that you said, skill, scale, speed, I would say is something that we must adapt. And with bringing humility in ourselves, respecting, previous generation and next generation. I come from the second generation where today I am a child and I am a father as well. So it's a great learning today for me as well. And I have noted a lot of points that I can inculcate in my family business as well. And I'm sure many others can also inculcate a lot of points today. Learn and unlearn, like Shantanu ji said. We will surely, and the 2-hour session, I'm sure is not enough. We will surely have more awareness and sensitization sessions in coming weeks and months time to take it to a more programmed way of working. Thank you, Dr. Parimal Merchant. Thank you, Shantanu ji. Thank you, Prashant ji. Thank you, Delzad ji. Thank you, everybody, to be here, and let's take things to greater heights. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.